All right, so question 25, the double AMC preview practice test. Let's go. All right, you just started working at a local clinic. You are responsible for meeting with patients and documenting their health concerns before they see the doctor. Before you meet with a patient complaining of stomach pain, a more experienced student pulls you aside and says, that person is homeless and comes to the clinic all the time. They're obviously making up concerns so they can stay here for a while. Don't waste your time meeting with the patient. All right, so, this question is actually very similar to question 21. If you remember, we had a classmate making discriminatory comments against undocumented immigrants, and here it seems they're making discriminatory comments against homeless patients or patients who are homeless. And although it is similar in that way, it's also a little bit different. Here we are at our job and we're working at a local clinic, so we have very clear responsibilities to meet with patients, so we must remember to uphold those responsibilities. And those are some additional kind of elements to this question. And yeah, the main problem here, we just kind of summarize it. While working at a local clinic where you document patients' health concerns, a more experienced student makes a discriminatory comment against patients who are homeless. And once again, I don't think I have to say this, but just like in question 21, scenario 21, these comments are intolerant and they have no place in healthcare. I'm gonna, leave it at that, but just know it's gonna be very important to address these comments, right? But also making sure we fulfill our responsibilities as working in a clinic, right? And if you remember, we've used these questions, differently as we've gone through our scenarios. For this one though, for questions where, like question 21, we use the second question quite obviously, right? Are you taking steps to resolve or address the main problem? That was our central question we used. But here, we also have responsibilities. So we're also going to use this question. Are you fulfilling your responsibilities? We're going to use kind of both of these in tandem when making our initial differentiations and even our secondary differentiation. So that being said, that was our last one. For that being said, let's move on to 25.1. All right. Acknowledge the student's comments, but meet with the patients regardless. All right. So, are we? We can go back to our two differentiation questions we're going to use. We are clearly fulfilling our responsibilities, right? Because we are meeting with the patient, right? We are fulfilling those responsibilities. Nonetheless, though, we are acknowledging the comment that the more experienced student made. Now, I don't know if it was just me, but in my mind, acknowledge almost just means like recognize. But googling it, we if you Google the term acknowledge, it kind of has more, the definition more aligns with accepting, or accepting the truth of, I think it's accept or admit the existence or truth of, really here acknowledging should take the definition of accepting, invalidating, and legitimizing the comment. And in that vein, we are clearly not doing right by the comment the patient made. And we are, although we're still fulfilling our responsibility of meeting with the patient, we're not addressing the problem of the comment. Moreover, we're not only not addressing it, we are admitting it and validating it. This is definitely going to be a 2 to 3 response, right? This is going to be a 2 to 3 response. We're fulfilling our responsibilities, but we're validating the discriminatory comment. How do we differentiate between a 2 and a 3? Well, we can ask, are you fulfilling your responsibilities? Which we are. We are meeting with our patient. Nonetheless, though, are we offering a solution to the main problem is also a very relevant question here. And because the main thrust of the scenario revolves around the discriminatory comment, you would expect that effective solutions would address that comment to some degree, right? And it's not only that we're ignoring the comment here, but we are actually validating it and giving it and accepting it, right? And that's actually going to cause a lot of harms too. Like, what's the likelihood of causing a problem? Well, validating this discriminatory attitude towards patients who are homeless is only going to further discrimination and health disparities, and it's going to cause a lot of harm because we are validating our classmates' comment, right? So although we are fulfilling our responsibilities, we're not managing the main thrust of the problem, which is really the comment. And it's only we're like not managing it, but we are validating it and accepting it, which is going to cause a lot of harm. So this is going to be a 2 response, right? That's the framework, the thought process to really define a 2 response. It's going to cause harm, not going to make the situation better. But it's not very ineffective because we are at least still meeting with our patient. All right. All right, 25.2. Tell the student it's important to assist the patient in case there actually is a problem. All right, so we can ask, we can go back to our initial differentiations. Although we're not really sure if we're going to fulfill our responsibilities, there is some sort of, we can kind of tell we're on the side of meeting with the patient, right? More importantly, though, are you taking steps to resolve or address the main problem? Clearly, we are taking steps to address the comment that was just made by our coworker here, and we're addressing it in a way that delegitimizes what they're saying, right? So this is going to be a 3 to 4, right? We're correcting the student, right? We are making sure to rebut what they say. All right, so differentiating between a 3 and a 4. We can look at these questions right here. And if you haven't seen question 21, definitely go back and watch that video too, because we're going to touch on this idea that we elaborated a lot on there. But differentiating 3 and 4s for people making, in similar situations where someone makes a discriminatory comment, we've seen that it's important to not only deal with the comment, but also to explain why the comment was wrong, right? And address the root cause of the problematic nature of the comment. Because when we are explaining this, and here we are, right? Because we're saying your thought process, your comment will lead to patient harm because we are not wasting time, we're not meeting with the patient, right? And in their view, that's wasting time. But in reality, if there actually is a problem, we need to assess that. So we are dealing and addressing at the fundamental level why their comment was bad. And why is that so relevant? Well, it's because when we do that, we not only address the root cause of the problem, which in turn makes us more likely to improve the situation, right? Which is the major differentiation between a 3 and a 4, right? If you go to the 4-point scale, addressing the root cause of the problem, the discrimination of this comment that was made, addressing that forcefully and with this certain logic, make sure that the student knows why the problem and why the comment is so unethical. And also it will do a good job of us making sure that the classmate doesn't make the same comment again, right? It's helping prevent similar problems in the future. Because we're not only addressing and saying the comment is bad, but we're saying why the comment is bad, and because it can lead to patient harm, we are improving the situation to a very significant degree, deterring our classmate from making similar comments in the future. So this is going to be a 4 response, right? It really is getting to the core of why this comment was discriminatory. All right. And definitely, go back to question 21. We elaborate on very similar comments there. And we've done it a few times, but apart from 21, But that scenario, we also dealt with very similar thought processes and methodologies for differentiating threes and fours where someone else makes a discriminatory comment. All right, 25.3. Tell the student you're not going to treat the patient differently because they happen to be homeless. All right, once again, are we fulfilling our responsibilities? We're not entirely sure because it's not obvious if we are or not, but very clearly we are addressing the issue of the comment, right? So we can triage this into a 3 and a 4. Also, very similarly, remember, it's important to address, and don't memorize this as a fact, right? But do memorize that, we can go back, and I know I didn't show it on the last question, so let me just show it now. Just in case y'all haven't seen the 4-point scale. Remember, the difference between a 3 and a 4 response is the degree and probability of correcting and improving the situation. In other words, how likely is it to make the situation better? And to what degree does it do that? Well, for this question, right, that's the difference between a 3 and a 4. Definitely read this very carefully. This is more or less, the what the entire test is based on. And because that is the difference between a 3 and a 4, addressing the root cause of the comments, of the discriminatory nature of the comments, that's going to make this go from a 3 to a 4 because it's more likely to improve the situation, address the main problem, and prevent the situation from happening again in the future. And for this problem, once again, just like 25.2, we are addressing the root cause, right? We're addressing the root cause of the problem. We are telling the student that it's unethical to treat people differently just because of their housing status. We're addressing the discriminatory nature of the comment at its core. Once again, making more likely that the situation will be improved and that the student doesn't, learn something and doesn't have the same kind of bias and prejudice in the future. All right, that's why it's a 4. Oof, I know I kind of rambled on there. All right, let's make these next couple questions. Let us go through them. I think the next couple, we can definitely go a little bit quicker. Let your supervisor know that you prefer not to see the patient. All right, so, let's go back to our initial differentiations. We are clearly, right, are you fulfilling your responsibilities? Clearly we're not, right? We're foregoing our responsibilities of seeing patients. Furthermore, are we addressing the main problem? And really here we're looking at the comment itself, right? We are not addressing the comment itself. In reality, we are validating the comment, acknowledging it to a degree that's going to interfere with our job. Differentiating between a 1 or 2, you can definitely go back and look at the differentiations, but most importantly, we are relinquishing our responsibilities and validating the discrimination. And once again, over consequences, very clearly going to cause consequences, not only for our job, right? We're, probably going to get fired more, but we are upholding this pattern of discrimination that is going to lead to inequitable care, right? All right. 25.4, 25.5. Tell the student it can be frustrating when people use the clinic resources they don't really need. All right, so are we fulfilling our responsibilities? Well, we don't really know, right? But it looks like we're not, I guess we don't really know, right? If we are fulfilling our responsibilities or not. But are we taking steps to resolve or address the main problem? Clearly, we are not addressing the problematic nature of the comment. If anything, we're agreeing with it. And so this is going to be, a 1 or a 2 because we're agreeing with the comment. Not only that, we can kind of go back and see that, we can go back to the the flowchart, but really our intuition should be built in the sense of recognizing that we are upholding a pattern of discrimination, which is rude and disrespectful and perpetuates prejudice and inequities. Clearly, all these are very strong over causes over consequences to this response. So this is going to be a 1, right? Very, very ineffective and only going to cause more problems. And, like we differentiated between a 3 and a 4, let's just show this in case y'all haven't seen it, but between a 1 or a 2, a key differentiator is the ability and probability to cause additional problems or make the situation worse, right? That's a key differentiator. And for this question, very clear consequences. All right, I believe we're on 25.6. Tell the students their comments are inappropriate and biased. All right. Are we fulfilling our responsibilities? We're not too sure, but are we addressing the comments? Are we addressing the main problem? Are we taking steps to address or resolve the main problem? Clearly, we are here, right? We are telling the student that their comments are inappropriate and biased. Now we kind of get to the core of the small rant I went on before for 25.2, but very important to ask in these questions, right? Are we addressing the root cause? Are we addressing the discriminatory nature of the comments? Well, here, although we are telling the student their comments are inappropriate and biased, the reason why 25.2 and 25.3 were very effective was because we explained why their comments were biased and messed up. And it was because that, it reduces and diminishes patient care and is unethical because it treats people differently based on, their housing status. Because 25.2 and 3 explained that to the student and taught that to the student, it acted and it was very effective, and it acted in a way to make sure that the students' thought processes are changed or at least help to prevent this problem from occurring again in the future. It's because it got to the core of why the comment was so problematic, right? Also, this comment not only does it not do that, right? It just tells the student that their comments are inappropriate and biased. It doesn't explain to them why they're biased, right? It doesn't teach them what the right thing to do is or the right ethical actions are in this scenario. It just tells them that what they're doing is wrong. Therefore, it has a less likelihood of improving the situation because it doesn't explain to them in that fashion why their comment is so wrong. The rationale for the AAMC also says that this reduces and it doesn't allow for conversation, because ideally you would not only address the comments, right, but teach the student why they said what they said was wrong, and then open a conversation towards that. AAMC also sees this as a response that doesn't open the door for as much conversation as something like 25.2 or 25.3 would. For all those reasons, this is a 3 response, an effective response. It addresses the comments, right? It just doesn't take that extra step to say why it was wrong. Really get down to the root cause. Oh, where'd we go? 25. 25.7. Ignore the student's comments and meet with the patient. All right, so, this is actually somewhat similar to 25.1, right? We're fulfilling our duties, which is good, right? If we go back to our initial differentiations, we are fulfilling our responsibilities, which is good. And remember, on 25.1, we acknowledged the truth of the comment. Here, we ignore the student's comments, right? So we're still not addressing the comments, though, and explaining why it was wrong. I'm going to put this into a 2 or a 3, right? I'm going to put this into a 2 or a 3. So how do we differentiate between a 2 and a 3? Are we taking personal responsibility for solving the problem? Somewhat. Are we offering a solution to the main problem? Somewhat. We're still meeting with our patient, and we're not acknowledging the comments, right? We're not reinforcing the negative comments. How are we impacting relevant stakeholders? Well, our patient still gets seen, right? Our own thought processes, it's not like we are embodying the negative stereotypes, and we're not embodying the prejudice, right? We're actively ignoring what the other student has said. What is the likelihood of causing a problem? Well, the likelihood is a little bit less here, definitely less than what we saw for 25.1, right? By ignoring the comment, right, we're somewhat neutral towards it. And are we fulfilling our responsibilities? Well, very clearly we are fulfilling our responsibilities and making sure that the patient gets seen, right, which is the ethical action to do here. Because we're not validating the comments and we are seeing the patient, this will be a 3 response, right? We're not really improving the situation, but the harm that can be done is largely being avoided by ignoring the comments and by meeting with the patient, right? In that sense, at least we are fulfilling our duties, fulfilling our responsibilities, and there's little chance for negative consequences based on our actions. All right, that's why that will be a 3 response. And we finished question 25. All right, I know this was a bit of a longer video, but nonetheless, I hope I did a good job explaining things. Of course, if you feel there's any other questions, or if you're left with any other questions that I haven't addressed, or there's something I could have explained a bit more clearly, let me know. I would be more than happy to make another video if needed, or just engage in the comments about any part of this video. So yeah, please like and comment and subscribe if you can. That would really help push the video out to more people. And that's all I have for this question. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you for question 26.